I'm looking to do this video because it seems we have a very, very confused individual here in Enioloku. Very confused. So let me dive in on this one, yeah? I'm going to come with some fresh points, some unique points that haven't been hit here, especially with my usual unique analysis. What I'm going to do this time, however, is hit the best points now, because I tend to notice where I get deep in my videos and it gets a lot better than normally later on in videos, and some people don't actually listen to the end. So let me go straight in now. I'm going to mix up some of the points, yeah? Whereas before I was looking to do this logically, okay? So let me go straight in, yeah? Let me go straight in here, yeah? Okay. This is regarding the Enioloku interview, well, with Simon and Jim White that took place yesterday, yeah? The 45-minute interview, which the media labelled very stormy, which actually wasn't. You know, Simon came with his usual logical, strategic self, and Annie was trying to look. And there's so many people like that in that particular community. Yeah, try to do what they normally do, but let me address that. I'm going to address that as well at some point. Yeah, but let me get straight into this. Okay, right. I'm going straight in because, like I said, you know, people like to listen to the key points. Okay, straight in. Okay, now regarding the interview with Simon and Annie and Jim Wright, there are a number of key points that I've picked up. Yeah, so to go straight in with this one firstly. Yeah, this is an interesting one. Annie said that men should be reduced to a supporting role in football. Okay, regarding Ian Wright and Onana. Okay, if I pronounce his name incorrectly, do forgive me. Okay, yeah. Now, she's saying those two guys have the main spot. For example, when the show comes on, this is what she's saying. When the show comes on, women are floating around. Then the show orbits around those two guys. Okay, men should be reduced to a supporting role. Okay, fair enough. People are saying that's hypocritical and come with that counter argument that, okay, playing it that way, let women do women's football and let men do men's football, okay? Yeah? That's perfectly makes sense. I made that point in my last video as well, okay? That's off key. What she's saying is hypocritical, because if that's the case, then let men do men and let women do women. But in doing that, you're going straight back into men's hands, aren't you? Patriarchal men's hands, may I add, okay? All right? Because if you're coming from a feminist point of view and you're saying that patriarchy is what's keeping women back, then by separating the men and the women, you're buying into that patriarchal argument, and all the capitalism and all the big bulk money is where the men's game is. That goes straight back into men's hands, and the lesser leagues and dominion of women's football goes back into women's hands. Okay? Make sense? So really and truly, you've gone full circle. So you've taken feminism all the way back round to patriarchy again. Right? Right. Good. Okay. Similarly to that point, you say that, you allude, although you want to dance around it, you actually alluded that, men, you have a problem with men in women's football. And you actually allude to the fact that Ian Wright is blocking your path. Yeah, Ian Wright being there is blocking the path because it should be you there. Okay. Now, at this point, no, because you're not guaranteed that spot. Doesn't mean it's going to be you. Because there's several other female footballers out there. Yeah, and black ones as well. Black female footballers that's come through, and maybe maybe they might go with her. Okay. Doesn't have to be you. You've got many caps and, you're black and you've got many caps and you've done this and that. But as people are saying, that doesn't automatically give you that divine right, does it? We think, there's many players with several plenty of caps who aren't on TV like that for many reasons, So, I mean, you think Peter Shorten, he must have plenty of caps now. Yeah, must have had plenty of caps. He's not. Never seen him on television. I didn't see Ray Clements on TV at all. And he's probably one of the best goalkeepers, in English history. And so Andy Cole doesn't do much, does he? Andy Cole doesn't do much at all. And Robbie Fowler, come on. These are guys who who made their mark in the game. So well and truly, no one's given that divine right. No one's given that divine right. And it is what it is. It is what it is. And another thing, another point. Sorry. This gets interesting. Yeah. You said Wright was blocking you there. Then you go on to say you allude that maybe he was working with people against you, and so forth. Yeah. There's something going on behind the scenes there. Maybe we don't know. Yeah. You never know. Dare I say it? Uncle Ian may have hit the skins, as we used to say, and got the nans. We don't know. But hey, that's ignore me. But listen, you're saying Ian Wright was maybe pitching people against you and this and that, yeah, and you lead to a few things, yeah. This is what I find interesting. When it all came out, when she came out against Wright publicly, yeah, and then it all kicked off. Didn't Ian Wright have an interview? Well, not interview, sorry. Didn't he put a video out saying leave her alone, leave it, lay off. Tell the people to lay off, leave her it is, and that's when he did not accept your apology. Yeah, okay, right, which makes perfect sense because it kicked off. He replied, she apologized, and then he just said, leave it, whatever. I'm not accepting your apology, but leave it. Yeah. Which is the big mature man thing to do. She came back and said, but him not accepting my apology, he's childish. So in her world, that gave her a reason to come at him again. That don't even make sense. I addressed this in the first video, yeah, but this looks even more off key now when I've looked into it even more and actually seen the actual video where she said that, yeah. So you instigate something, right? If I go up to someone and punch them in the face, yeah, right? I've instigated it, yeah, right? So I've had a bad day, yeah. I got to punch them in the face, yeah. They fall on the floor, yeah. People will stand us up, and I say sorry, yeah, yeah. He says no, I'm not accepting that. Even if you've had a bad day, I'm not accepting it, yeah. I'm the one who's going to turn around and say, right, because you didn't accept my apology, you're childish, but you're the one who instigated the trouble. Make that make sense. See, this is what happens when you live in a world of no accountability and no responsibility. Some people out there can think they can do whatever they want. Okay? May that make sense again, yeah? Right. With that analogy what I just said, yeah? I instigate something, right? I instigate something, yeah? It's so basic, yeah? It's damaging my IQ here, yeah? It's damaging the brain here, right? This is how off-key the girl is, yeah? Well, this is how off-key it is, yeah? I'm not going to go over that again. It's just too brain numbing, yeah? The bottom line is, she's accusing him of being childish when she instigated it, so now she's going to come at him again. Yeah? Boy. No. Anyway, next point. Let's move on. Women champion the men's game and the men champion the women's game. Yeah? Now, I'm going to put this. Like I said in the previous video, when there's a panel, yeah, there's maybe 4 or 5 people, and more time or not, there's a woman on there, yeah? Okay? Now, remember that this is in men's football, yeah? Right? So, what is wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Nothing. I think what she wants, yeah, is a full representation, yeah, of like she wants like maybe a panel of, say there's 5, yeah, right? She wants no Jamie Redknapp, no Rio, no Owen, right? She wants all them guys out, and then she wants like 3 women, yeah, and then the 2 men, because she thinks in her mind women's football is actually equal to the men's, okay? So in her world, because I was 16, 17, and like I was banging them in like Rooney. I'm like Rooney. So in her head, she thinks she's has parity with Rooney, yeah? Yeah, she thinks, that's hard to explain, all right? She thinks in her head, yeah, that when she was playing football and doing all the wonderful things she was doing, yeah, that puts her on par with, well, I don't know how good she was. Okay, a female footballer who I look out for and I rate, yeah, Chloe Kelly and Greenwood, yeah. Is it Tasha Greenwood and Chloe Kelly, yeah? Them girls can play ball, yeah. They would be, in my eyes, they would be like, think of a player who they would be like in the men's game. A footballing defender, a really good footballer. Yeah, she would be like a Ledley King, like a Rio Ferdinand, yeah? Yeah, I think it's Tasha Greenwood, yeah. She can play ball, yeah? And the other one would be like Saka, yeah, right? Like them girls there, yeah. I could equate them to that, yeah, right? But obviously not in the equilibrium, in a fantasy equilibrium world. That's what they would be like, yeah. But in this girl's head, she thinks those girls have exact parity to those guys. Okay, she thinks and it's off key, yeah. Because we know that when the women's football team played like some under 14 side, whatever it was, we know this, they got battered, yeah? Okay? But in her head, in her mind, not me, her, in her head, she thinks that when Rooney was 16, 17, banging him in, that's me when I was 16, 17. I was the Rooney, I am like Rooney, yeah? But she thinks she has parity and the abilities, she has the abilities and parity of a Rooney, yeah? Yeah? Whereas there's probably some non-league players that can play off the park and they won't even consider themselves to be in the same breath as Rooney. It's off key. So let's say a really skilled female footballer, yeah. I mean, a baller, yeah. All right, like Greenwood, yeah, right. She thinks Greenwood's the same as like a Modric in her head. Yeah, that's how she sees it. They're exactly the same when they're not, because Modric is like an all-time great. And Greenwood probably would, maybe at best, no disrespect, but maybe lucky to make non-league, if that. But hey, that's no disrespect because I rate her as a woman. But anyway, but sidetracking. Next point. All right. Next point. This is mind-numbing stuff, man. This is mind-numbing stuff. She said, yeah. Now this is interesting. This gets really interesting. Good point this is, yeah. Right. She believes, yeah, if I'm working with the best, if I'm working with brilliant broadcasters and the best pundits around me, yeah, right, and the best people, by default, I must be the best, yeah. Whoa. Then that's when Simon said, you got entitlement issues, and that's a product. That's a result of DEI, yeah, DEI, yeah. Now this gets tricky, yeah. This is what I'm gonna say, yeah. That's what I'm gonna say. Technically speaking, yeah, because of her accomplishments, footballing accomplishments as a woman in the women's league, yeah. If we're gonna choose women to sit at the table, to sit at the table, she deserves to be there. Okay, she has so many caps, done the XYZ on that woman's level. We're going to choose a woman on merit for their footballing abilities. She will get picked to sit at the table, which they rightly did. Right, so she has no argument there whatsoever because they actually choose you there on your merit because they pulled you up on your merit and you got sat there, yeah? So technically speaking, to say she's DEI is wrong. But when you got there, yeah, because for you to get there to sit at the table was as you was a footballer, but to get there now to sit in the seat, you're a pundit, yeah. And so as a pundit, you are failing, yeah. This is what it's all about. So technically speaking, as a pundit now, this is where it goes back to Simon being right. Because now, hold on, as a pundit, do you get to the table? That's fine. You got the upper hand on that debate. You got the side A, but the side B, as a pundit now. Whoa, because you're not so hot like that, not as hot as you think you are. That's when he's going to turn around. That's I said in the first video. That's when he's going to turn around and say, "You got there by DEI." Well, no, your punditry, you keeping your seat is DEI. If he's saying that, because he might, if he's saying you didn't get it by merit, that's wrong. She did. If he's saying you're keeping your seat, you're keeping this seat here, you're retaining your seat on DEI, he's got a point. Because you are. And that goes back to my original video, when I've said that at the very beginning of my original video, yeah? That's why when people put you on, yeah, and I deal with this, this might have to be a separate video, yeah? But when they deal with you, when they put you there, and you flop, then they're like, yeah, see, that's DEI, yeah? But then I've always argued, subconsciously, maybe they're putting you there because they know you're going to F up anyway. But that's going to be another conversation. That's kind of topic, yeah? So I stick a pin there. So ultimately, the fact you're flopping in your seat, yeah, makes you disillusioned. Because really and truly, you've got there, you're sitting there, you're talking, whatever, and you think that because you're around the best, you are the best when you're not. Because that's you, technically speaking, because you are there on DUI because you're flopping as a pundit. So that's where there's two thin lines there, if that makes sense. Okay? That's a very key point to make. That's very key. That's fundamentally key to what we're dealing with here, yeah? Okay? Now, back to the DEI debate itself. I'll drop this in there now, yeah? Technically speaking, she had a point as well, and this is where she actually may have one little something here, yeah? DEI, actually, and no. I'm going to make it even. I'd call that a draw. And I'll tell you why I'm going to call that a draw. Because she didn't explain what she meant. And this is where I have a problem with her when she done her debate with Andrew Gold as well, yeah? She's saying things, and this is where... I'm going to add this as a separate point. Well, no, deal with it now. Deal with this now. The Andrew Gold thing, she embarrassed herself. She's a disgrace. Because she was saying things and didn't know how to follow up with what she was saying. And that's where a lot of these people fall down, okay? Now, DEI, what you should have said was this. Same with the Andrew Gold interview, what you should have said was this, yeah? Right? DEI is simply there, and it's the reality, yeah? Because Simon was kind of wrong here, but because she didn't explain it properly, I'm going to call it a draw. Because DEI means that coloured black person, whatever it is, yeah, black, Asian, whatever it is, yeah, they've already got the skills. They've already got the skills to get through the door. Just they don't get through the door because of reasons like Simon said himself, unconscious bias, or maybe the employer sees them. Oh, I see black skin. I don't want that. Yeah, and that's where I disagree with Simon again. In the point where it's talent that keeps things going. No. Come on, people get in because of connections. They may have money, connections, and in many cases, the fact that there's conscious bias as opposed to unconscious bias. Yeah, I know many highly qualified PhD level black people that are highly intelligent that didn't get through. That's why they go elsewhere because they're not going to make it in London and the UK. Yeah, and they're 10 times more educated and more intelligent than the person that is Caucasian. That's there. Okay. End of, yeah, and that's it, And the argument about numbers, you mentioned some numbers, yeah. Again, this is where any flopped, yeah. This is why I say certain people of colour shouldn't mention. And I'm going to touch on that later. But listen, in football, it's overrepresented with black players as opposed to the numbers of black people in the country. That's because teams want to win. So managers will choose the best athletes because they want to win, okay? It's no surprise that when Wenger came along, yeah, and started putting black players in the Arsenal team because he wants to win, and they want the best man for the job, and they generally mean that. The best athletes with a winning attitude, the best capabilities. I'm not saying Caucasian players don't, but when they do that, you're totally even in the field, yeah? When it comes to organisations winning, yeah? Like football, we want to win games to win cups and trophies and leagues, yeah? That's different to administration roles or normal generic work jobs where you can discriminate because it's just a functional role, yeah? Admin's just a functional role. You can choose Claire, blonde Claire, whatever it is. Fine, yeah? But when it comes to winning is a different thing, yeah? There's the bureaucratic, administrative levels of business and functional roles, then there's winning. Right? Football is one. Sales is another, yeah? Sales team I still be in. There's me and another black guy, yeah? Yeah, we were the dons. We were the charismatics. We were the murderers. Yeah, yeah. And the manager, their attitude is, yeah, these guys, listen, they will never sack us because obviously we're an asset to the company. We're the breadwinners. We're the ones that bring the money in. Okay, so that's winning business. There's the winning aspect and there's the admin aspect. Okay, simples. Okay, so you know that's that that in itself proves a different thing. Yeah. So ultimately, putting it back on track with this, yeah, right? Any, yeah, technically speaking, yeah, actually, where's her? I mean, she got the job, she got the roles, yeah, and just to realise it's not a permanent thing like that. Because when I see these panels, yeah, it's just normally interchangeable. Like you see one place, you working in there, then you see someone else there, see someone else there, see someone else there. So it's not an ongoing thing. So I think she got the right amount of exposure there, to be honest. Okay, but anyway, you know, this is an interesting one, yeah. She said she said she's not getting booked. She wasn't getting booked, whatever. X, Y, Z. She took herself out the firing line. Yeah, I think with regards to the BBC, she said, yeah, took herself took herself out the firing line. But then in the other token, she's other breath, she said, "It's the budgets." BBC saying those budgets we had to consider. So with budgets we had to consider, and we're prioritising Karen Carney and Ian Wright. Yeah, okay. That's when she went on to make some comments on Wrighty. Yeah, after that. Yeah, right. Now, at this instance, yeah, like I think it was Jim Wright put it to her. Yeah, which one is it? You took yourself out of the firing line to get away to get yourself out of the firing line to do other things, which you said you're doing, or is it the BBC? Or you're angry with the BBC for cutting the budgets and keeping Ian Wright and Carney on, and therefore keeping Wright on is blocking you. Yeah, which one is it? And he's right to ask that. He's right to ask that. It's not it's not rocket science. And he should try to dance and style it out and listen. It's me talking to you, It's me watching it, And Simon Jordan's no mug either. When you're doing all that, listen. Anyway. Another one as well, yeah. Another point. We're going through these, yeah. She was like perplexed and vexed and annoyed that Ian Wright did not use his influence to keep her in the game and give her support like he did to Garrett Lineker. Like when Lineker was going through something, Ian Wright did come out and back him, yeah? Right? And then when she was pushed further, yeah? When it was pushed further, and this is where I'm going to go in a bit now, yeah? When it pushed further, she then went where she shouldn't have gone, yeah? Because this is how foolish she is, yeah? She should not have gone to the issue of race. She should not have done. That's why I started cringing. This is where it gets silly. Because she was saying, on the premise, basically she's saying, on the premise of me being black, yeah, okay, Ian Wright should have looked out for me because I'm black and that's what black people do. It's a community thing, blah, 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 blah. No. No. And this is the madness, yeah. This is where I have to pull you up by your, not bootstraps, but I'm going to say something else there. Pull you up by, well, you ain't got much hair, have you? You might got much hair. So I have to pull you up by your, I don't know. Listen, let's go back a bit. Yeah. Before all this happened, yeah. She's on one of those websites, acting high post and being all hoity-toity, yeah, but she was. And she went up to say, oh, I vote Conservative, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And people were like, hold on a minute. In one breath, you would be a social crusader. Now you're saying you vote Conservative, but now the other side of the coin, what you're saying is against the very system which is empowered by the Conservatives. Does that make sense? This was when the Conservatives, very recently, they become more diverse, yeah? This was before those times. So people were like, hold on, scratching their head a bit, yeah? And when pushed about it, she wasn't accountable. She said, well, I vote Conservative, I don't need to explain anything. Go and look and go and check, right? Go check. There's one thing that PISSED'd me off about her, yeah? Right? So basically she's saying that Ian Wright owes her something because she's black and Basically, you black like me. Where's my little squeaky voice? No, man, because I'm black and you're black, so you got to support me, right? I'm black, you're black. No, 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 no. And Ian Wright did support you. Because when she messed up with all that nonsense, yeah, with the maths, yeah, 19 and 20 games, whatever it was, Ian Wright did support you. So what do you want him to do? Yeah? Basically, you know, what she wanted like him to do was step down, so be her and Carney, whatever, her and Karen Carney is that, doing the shows, and he just stepped down and let me come through, yeah? That's that. Like Simon said, he's got his own commercial, Ian Wright's got his own commercial interest, yeah? And I'll say this, moving on to the next point, I touched on it before. Women's football needs men there, yeah? So listen to the first video, yeah? Women's football needs men there to progress, yeah? And become mainstream, yeah? Okay, making it a racist issue, yeah? If there wasn't, dare I say it, civil rights movement where not the civil rights marching, but obviously civil rights laws in place to get black people through as well, yeah? And those rules emanate from liberal-minded white people. I mean, real. I'm gonna put with a capital L, meaning let's call it real with a capital R. Liberal-minded white people who understand white people's plight. They're the ones who change things up. Okay. We go back to that movement was basically black people rioting with the Malcolm X movement that superseded the civil rights movement of Martin Luther King, and then the reaction of that, which was where people said, we can't have this globally. We look bad. We look like, this isn't good. And in the end, it's when they change things up. Okay? So at some point, you're going to need white people on your side, but then they need white people on their side to change things up. Okay? That's the reality. Don't argue that all you want, yeah? You could be Pele, you could be Pele, yeah? In England, yeah? But if there weren't people there who were liberal-minded, who want to open those doors, yeah, well, that's winning. Sorry, okay, that's because that's a aspect of winning. But still, if someone's still negative, closed-minded and negative, yeah, you could be Pele, but you still wouldn't get through because of racism. Yeah, don't forget, Murray Cunningham, Blissett, those guys. Yeah, I'm sure there's many more of those guys. Yeah, but because they only wanted one to come through. That's a different thing. Whereas now, winning's so important that they're going to choose anyone who's going to win the game. Okay, goes back to my previous point. Okay, but here in the UK, we saw it with the case with those boys in Eltham, yeah, and Stephen Lawrence. When Nelson Mandela came over, he's the one who raised the profile of that, and that's when the legal system bucked up because Nelson Mandela came over and said, "What's going on here?" Right? So my entire point being, bringing it all back round, I know I'm going on a tangent, you're going to need people like that, going to need men to make the females game work. Like I said, the men's game, the females game is dependent on the men's game. And I gave the Aston Villa analogy in the last video, okay? Because the Aston Villa women's team will trade off the Aston Villa's men's team and so forth, okay? Right. Now, she said something about Laura Woods was at one point, we're good friends, we're close, she's supporting me, and now I feel gaslit because she's insinuating I'm not good enough. Hold on. See, this is where these people fall down, yeah? You're saying she insinuated that, yeah? But don't know what she actually meant by that, yeah? Because by saying she's insinuating you're not good enough, you're saying she's not genuine and sincere then, which is what Jim White said, and he's right. And then when he said that, she's like, again, disco dancing around and say, listen, doing the Fred Astaire disco dancing act, look. Right? He's right. Because if they're putting you down and you have nothing to say. Same with the Andrew Gold interview. We're seeing a pattern here, yeah? You have certain ideas and beliefs, but when you get pinned down, you can't say nothing. This is why it's dangerous, especially in, dare I say, the black community. We have people like yourselves there who can't articulate certain things. You haven't got the nonsense or the know-how or the awareness, spatial awareness to consider the big picture. Okay? So for you to say, because behind the Woods, she was supporting me, but Laura Woods behind the scene was supporting me, doing X, Y, Z for me. Yeah? And then because, and don't forget, when you're saying, if you're gaslit by your comments, yeah? Laura Woods' comments came after the fact that you came out against Wrighty. So she's not going to be speaking very highly of you then, is she? Come on, where's the emotional intelligence here? Where's the Is it hard to work out? Again, this is very brain numbing for me doing this. Same with the last video. It's hard to get into because it's very brain numbing. Okay. Okay. Oh gosh. Touched on Ian Wright thinking you're an ally. We touched on that. Yeah. I touched on black people should help each other strategize. Yeah, I'm gonna fall back on that a bit actually. It's brain numbing. Listen, right? Listen. White person, like Jim Wright kind of rightly said, yeah. If a white person's got a close black friend, and they've also got a white associate, yeah, they're gonna come out their way more for the black friend than they would for the associate. Okay? I got white friends who do it all the time, yeah. Listen, when you want to play that game, we'll play it. I've been ill, yeah. 200 miles away from London, yeah. I phone black people. Yes, some of them come through for me, yeah, no doubt, yeah. But in times of need, yeah, there's some black people that weren't there. Right, my white friend, I phoned him at 11 o'clock. Half an hour later, he's on the M25. So let's drop the race thing, yeah. Okay, I could break down back in the day. I broke down in South London. I don't feel to call certain black people. In fact, I phone some black people in Streatham. Yeah, I'm in bed now. I'm in bed now. You know, I'm in bed tapped. I'm in bed. I can't come out. I'm in bed. I'm talking now. Call me tomorrow. My white friend. Yeah, I'm there tapped. I'm coming through. I'll do it for you. No biggie. Man, come, change tire, done. So, yeah. Okay, let's just drop that. Well, and if you have a problem with what I've just said, if you ever do hear this and have a problem with what I said, yeah, life will show you differently. Forget me. Life will teach you. Life will show you. But basically, yeah. I'd like to touch on some key points quickly because it's going on further than I thought it would, yeah. The Andrew Gold interview, that was a disgrace and it was cringeworthy. Again, you took basically embarrassing. Because I would destroy Andrew Gold. I would have handled that. Tell him if you ever hear this and anyone hears this and they know Andrew Gold, give me a holler. Let us talk. I'll show how it should have been done. How it should have been handled. Okay, that's embarrassment and cringeworthy, and it's a poor representation of women of your gender and ethnicity. Yeah, the Declan Rice thing. Yeah, you mentioned something about a dialogue between the managers to manipulate the owners. Yeah, and then you actually believed you called it right because Declan Rice joined Arsenal. It's not about you didn't. No. You said, and you tried to disco dance again, and it's embarrassing. Someone had you up again. Yeah, he's right. You said there was some kind of manipulation between the managers to inflate the price or whatever it is. Some kind of collusion to get Declan Rice to go to Arsenal, which he did, and because he went there, you think you're right. Come out, man. Your career is to come out, man. Come out. But listen, I've more or less touched on all the key issues here. I've dealt with all these key issues. If you have points, she believes she was the pundit of choice. No, you wasn't, because there are plenty of other female footballers that could take your spot. Okay, but regardless of the caps you've got. Okay. And again, as I said, the last one, the apology to Ian Wright. As I said in the last video, yeah, you apologise, but you're still on it. That means your apology was hollow. Okay? And also, you don't seem to understand that you didn't see the fact that he did not accept the apology and you called him childish, yeah? You don't seem to understand that he helped you out beforehand and apparently he was supportive. So if someone's supportive, right, they help you out, you come against them, yeah, and you try and do something, and then they don't accept your apology, that's not childish. See my previous points regarding the analogy I gave you earlier in this video, yeah? And that's it. And that's that. One of the key points I'm going to wrap up on, yeah? Yeah? I don't see any Caucasian folk, yeah, coming back and forth at each other in a football sphere like this. Like, I don't see Laura Woods clashing with Roy Keane going back and forth like this, yeah? Why is it only the ethnic, dare I say it, black people? You know, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing again. And the bad thing was, something about, she mentioned something about being that angry black woman. And no, 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 no. Confused, nothing to do with that. No. Because really and truly, yeah, I told you, as I said previously, you're put on. You got there. Yeah, you got there. It's when you got there, you messed it up. It's on you. The angry black woman, what's that going to do with the price of fish? You know? And why are you even talking like that? Remember, you're conservative, remember? You don't have to... You're meant to align more with Kemi, yeah? And this is where I was going to go in, yeah? I remember now. You're bringing up Dawn Butler, yeah? Who, okay, she's left, yeah? She's a left-winger. So is Diane Abbott, yeah? It's a left-wing sisters, yeah? Why don't you... You're meant to be conservative, as you remember? So you should be more like Kemi, yeah? You should be more like Kenny, yeah? Not going against the grain, but you should be more like Kemi and, supporting, the power structure. Why are you revoking socialist and left-wing female politicians for? If we're going to take it there, because their ideology is different to yours, isn't it? See, basically, you try to be smart. Not that you try to play the race card, but you try to invoke other black folk in the mix, yeah? And nah. And the worst thing is, you had a chance to be strong and get your point across in the Andrew Gold video regarding race, and you flopped. So now you don't. No. You're in, and the community don't even acknowledge you. They think you're a fool. They think you're a fool. They don't bother with you. They don't bother with you. They don't respect you. And it is what it is. It's gone too long. But let me wrap this up quickly. It is what it is, and it is what it is. All right, later.